You see them everywhere. The arrogant boss, the selfish friend, the narcissistic celebrity on your screen. You hate them. You judge them. But what if the great psychologist Carl Jung was right? What if the reason you see narcissists everywhere ... is because you are looking in a mirror? The real danger is not the narcissist on your screen. It is the hidden one in your own mind. This is not a video. This is a diagnostic test, a shadow test. You are about to learn the 7 subtle signs that the enemy you've been hunting is actually you. Our world seems to be suffering from an epidemic of narcissism. The word is everywhere. It has become a simple label we stick on anyone who is selfish, arrogant, or simply doesn't do what we want. It is a comforting diagnosis because it places the problem firmly out there. The world is broken. Other people are the problem. You, the observer, the judge, are the sane one in an asylum of egos. But have you ever stopped to ask a more dangerous question? Why are you so good at spotting it? Why does the arrogance of others trigger such a violent emotional reaction in you? Jung taught that the things in others that irritate us the most are often reflections of the parts of ourselves we have refused to see. This is the shadow. The more you deny your own capacity for selfishness, for arrogance, for the desire for control, the more you will despise it in others. Your hatred is not a sign of your moral superiority. It is a sign of your own self-deception. Today, we hold up the mirror. We will go through 7 signs of covert, hidden narcissism. These are not the obvious traits of the grandiose monster. These are the subtle habits of the good person who secretly believes they are better than everyone else. The first sign is that you constantly give unsolicited advice. You see your friends and colleagues making mistakes, and you feel a powerful urge to step in and help. You tell yourself you are being supportive. You tell yourself you just want what's best for them. But let's be honest, is it truly about helping them? Or is it about proving that you know better? Unsolicited advice is not an act of generosity. It is a subtle power play. It is a nonverbal communication that says, I am in a superior position to you. I see the world more clearly. Let me, the expert, guide you, the novice. It is a way of establishing dominance under the socially acceptable camouflage of kindness. Consider David. His friend Tom is excited about a new business idea. Tom isn't asking for advice. He is sharing his passion. But David immediately goes into consultant mode. He starts pointing out all the potential flaws, suggesting better strategies, and redesigning the entire concept. He walks away from the conversation, feeling helpful and intelligent. Tom walks away feeling deflated and foolish. David didn't help Tom. He used Tom's idea as an opportunity to demonstrate his own intellectual superiority. You must adopt the rule of consent. It is simple and absolute. Never offer advice. no matter how brilliant you think it is, unless you have been explicitly asked for it. If you feel the urge, bite your tongue and ask a question instead. Instead of saying, "Here's what you should do," ask, "How do you feel about that?" You are not just giving them space. You are starving your own ego of the need to be the smartest person in the room. The second sign is that you pride yourself on your brutal honesty. You are the one who is not afraid to tell it like it is. You see this as a noble, courageous trait in a world of cowards. But is it? How often is your brutal honesty actually necessary for the other person's growth? And how often is it just a socially acceptable excuse for cruelty? The hidden narcissist cloaks their need to criticize and judge in the virtuous language of truth-telling. They enjoy the feeling of power that comes from tearing down someone else's idea, belief, or creation, and they call it being real. Emily's friend shows her a painting she has been working on for months. She is vulnerable and looking for encouragement. Emily, the brutally honest one, looks at it and says, "Well, the perspective is all wrong, and the colors are a bit muddy, don't you think?" "I'm just being honest." She feels a sense of righteous satisfaction. She has spoken the truth, but she has not helped. She has used her honesty as a weapon to crush her friend's fragile confidence, reinforcing her own position as the one with superior taste and knowledge. Before you deliver a brutal truth, you must apply the compassion filter. Ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Is what I'm about to say true? 2. Is it necessary? 3. Is it kind? The hidden narcissist only cares about the first question. A person of true character will not speak unless the answer to all 3 is yes. This filter is not about becoming dishonest. It is about understanding the difference between honesty and a simple lack of empathy. Thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. Carl Jung. Your brutal honesty is often not a sign of a sharp mind, but a lazy one. It is easier to judge than to understand. The third sign is that you are a silent scorekeeper in your relationships. On the surface, you are generous. You are the one who always helps, who always gives, who always remembers. But in the secret ledger of your mind, you are keeping track of every single transaction. I did this for them. They never thanked me. I was there for them in their crisis. Where were they in mine? This leads to a constant simmering resentment. You believe you are the victim of other people's selfishness. But this scorekeeping is a deeply narcissistic act. It implies that every act of kindness is a transaction that requires an equal and opposite repayment. It turns relationships into a marketplace. It is not selfless giving. It is a covert system of creating debt, a way of ensuring that others are always in a position of owing you something. Mark helps his friend move house all weekend. He refuses any offer of payment, saying, "That's what friends are for." But weeks later, when he needs a small favor and his friend is busy, Mark is filled with rage. He doesn't express it directly. Instead, he becomes cold and passive-aggressive. His friend is confused by the sudden shift. Mark feels righteously wronged. After all I did for him, he thinks. He never offered a gift. He offered a loan, and now he is furious that the other party did not understand the hidden terms of the contract. You must practice the act of unconditional giving. When you choose to give your time or energy, you must consciously burn the receipt in your mind. Give for the sake of giving, and then let it go completely. If you find you cannot do this, then you must not give at all. It is more honest to say no than to say yes, and then secretly add the favor to your mental list of debts owed. The mirror is becoming clearer. Are you beginning to see a faint reflection of yourself in these behaviors? This is not a reason for shame. It is a reason for hope. The first step to escaping a prison is to realize you are in one. If you have the courage to continue this diagnosis, write, "The test continues" in the comments. Let's see who is truly brave. The fourth sign is your behavior in the court of public opinion, especially online. You are the first to express outrage at a social injustice. You are quick to condemn the moral failings of public figures. You post articles that signal your superior virtue and intelligence. You see yourself as an informed, engaged citizen. But is your goal to create change? Or is it to curate an image? Moral grandstanding is the act of using a public issue as a backdrop to perform your own goodness. It is a way of saying, "Look at me. I am one of the good ones." It is not about the issue. It is about the ego. It is a subtle but powerful form of narcissistic supply. An international crisis unfolds. Sarah spends her evening crafting the perfect, eloquent social media post condemning the injustice. She feels a rush of self-righteousness. The next day, a colleague asks if she'd like to volunteer for a local charity that helps refugees from that very crisis. Sarah makes an excuse. She's too busy. Her outrage was a performance. It required no sacrifice, no action. It was a cheap way to feel morally superior without any of the hard work. Adopt the action to outrage ratio. For every one public expression of outrage you make, you must perform one private, unglamorous act of service. Donate to the cause you are shouting about. Volunteer your time. Quietly help someone in your own community. This rule forces you to check your motives. Is your outrage a performance for an audience? Or is it a genuine call to action that you yourself are willing to answer? The fifth sign is one of the most difficult to admit. It is your reaction to the success of your peers. When a friend gets a promotion, when a colleague gets praised, You say all the right words. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. But what is the feeling behind the words? Is it genuine joy? Or is it a cold, sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach? Is it the feeling of envy? The hidden narcissist sees the world as a zero-sum game. Someone else's success feels like your own failure. You cannot genuinely celebrate their victory because, in the warped logic of the ego, their candle burning brighter somehow makes yours burn dimmer. Two writers start out together. One of them, let's call her Jane, gets a major book deal. Her friend, who is secretly a covert narcissist, throws her a party. She gives a beautiful toast, but Jane notices something strange. Her friend keeps making subtle jokes that minimize the achievement, or she quickly changes the subject to her own smaller successes. She is performing support, but her actions are a desperate attempt to reclaim the spotlight. She is smiling, but she is at war. You must practice active amplification. The next time a peer or a friend succeeds, your mission is not just to congratulate them. It is to become their publicist. Tell someone else about their success. Share their achievement. Amplify their victory. This is a powerful act of rewiring your brain. It moves you from a mindset of scarcity and competition to one of abundance and collaboration. It is a direct assault on the envious core of the ego. The sixth sign is a sophisticated manipulation tactic disguised as emotional openness. You share your past traumas, your struggles, your wounds. You believe you are being vulnerable and creating connection. But what is your true motive? The hidden narcissist often uses their own story of suffering not to connect, but to control the narrative, to garner sympathy, and to make themselves the tragic, heroic center of the universe. It is a way of making the conversation and the emotional energy of the room entirely about them. It is not vulnerability. It is a performance of victimhood. In a group of friends, whenever someone starts to share a problem, Ben has a habit of saying, "That reminds me of my own struggle," with ... double quotes. He then launches into a long, dramatic story of his own past pain. He thinks he is showing empathy by relating, but what he is actually doing is hijacking the conversation. He is subtly communicating. Your problem is a minor footnote to my much greater tragedy. He is not connecting. He is competing for the title of most wounded. Practice holding space. When someone shares their pain with you, your mission is to become an empty container. You are forbidden from talking about yourself. You can only ask questions about them. How did that feel? What do you need right now? This is a profound act of discipline. It forces your ego to step aside and allows you to offer a true gift, your undivided, unnarcissistic attention. The seventh and final sign is the belief that you are the center of everyone's universe. This is the bedrock of narcissistic thinking. It is the core assumption from which all other behaviors grow. A friend is in a bad mood? Your first thought is, what did I do? Your boss is stressed? It must be about my performance. You believe you are the cause of and the target of everyone else's emotional state. This seems like empathy, but it is the opposite. It is a profoundly arrogant worldview. It assumes that you are always the most important person in any room, the sun around which all other planets orbit. You have spent your life hunting for narcissists out there. You have diagnosed your bosses, your ex-partners, the politicians on the news. You have built a fortress of moral superiority, convinced you are one of the good ones. But the hunter was the hunted all along. The very act of constantly searching for the ego in others was the greatest expression of your own. The great, liberating, and terrifying truth is this: narcissism isn't a monster you find in the world. It is the shadow of every human soul. The question is not whether you have it. The question is whether you have the courage to see it. The shadow is a moral problem that challenges the whole ego personality, for no one can become conscious of the shadow without considerable moral effort. To become conscious of it involves recognizing the dark aspects of the personality as present and real. Carl Jung. This is not a verdict, it is a diagnosis. And a diagnosis is the first step to a cure. This is your new code: serve, don't advise. Offer help only when asked. Practice listening more than you speak. Validate, don't judge. Practice compassion over brutal honesty. Give, don't transact. Give freely or not at all. Burn the emotional receipts. Act, don't preach. Let your private actions, not your public outrage, define your virtue. Amplify, don't envy. Celebrate the success of others as if it were your own. Listen, don't hijack. Hold space for others without making their story about you. Decenter yourself. Accept that you are not the main character in everyone else's story. The world is not divided into narcissists and saints. It is made up of human beings, each with a brilliant light and a dark shadow. To deny your own shadow is to be ruled by it. To see it, to confront it, to own it, that is the beginning of true wisdom and true power. The test is over. The results are in. The real work starts now. If you are ready to stop judging the world and start examining yourself, write, "I own my shadow," in the comments below. Welcome to the real work. Subscribe to the Thinker's Codex. Your training has just begun.